Hi, welcome. This is your slow flow practice. This one will be largely grounded, but a little bit of opening up from the ground up rather than too much standing, but there will be a little bit. So if you need anything around you to stabilize you, just to help give you a bit more confidence if you're not really sure, please feel free to grab that. Some people like to have a chair just within reach, or a bed or a couch, anything else that works for you. As I said, it won't be too hectic, but just for the opportunity to help yourself build up some strength in different ways. As always, if you have any injuries or conditions that you're dealing with, really in any area, please only do this with that in mind and taking care of yourself and your needs and anything that you have there first and foremost. So if you need to adjust. If you need to pause or leave out a particular sequence, please feel free to do so, or please do so. Again, this isn't the most hectic practice at all. It's still a slow flow, but you may find it, you do a few little bits of downward dog, but nothing too much. So just take it as you need to, really. You may want to have a block there. If you don't have one, a thick book works really well. I have done this before with a book and it works really well for your supported bridge at the end of the practice. If you don't like using the block for supported bridge, you can use a couple of pillows or a bolster in lieu of that if you want something a bit softer. So that's all you really need, other than anything that you would like for comfort. So aside from that, let's get started. If you want to lay down, I'll stay seated for this part of the practice, but if you want to lay down just so we can settle in, finding a comfortable position there. If laying down on your back doesn't feel good for you, totally okay. You may want to lay on your left side if you're growing tiny humans, or sit up even if laying down really doesn't work for you. The intention and the suggestion of laying down is really mostly and really for you to settle in, to have that moment of grounding, of being, of transition from wherever you've come from before now, before coming to this practice, transitioning into this space for you. That's really what we're doing, is to make sure that you feel comfortable here. Maybe have a little bit of a wiggle in. Maybe taking a deep breath in through the nose if that's accessible. Long breath out of the mouth, letting yourself arrive. Let's do that twice more, breathing in through the nose and out of the mouth. Once more, just like that. Just find an even breath or an easy breath without trying to change it, without trying to do anything with it. Just being aware of yourself, what it feels like to bring your awareness to you. Noticing the weight of your body as it rests down. Notice the parts of the back of the body that feel heavy, and let them feel heavy. them be the weight that they are, the weight that they feel like. Being aware of your natural breath here without trying to change that. Being aware of the natural depth of your breath. So where your body moves as you breathe in. The natural length of your breath, if one side of your breath is shorter or longer than the other. The natural pace of your breath, if it's quick and rushed and hurried, like it's running a race, or if it's slow and relaxed. And starting to invite your breath in to deepen down towards your abdomen. Giving a sense of filling up as gradually as you need it to be, as gently as you need it to be, as you breathe in towards the bottom of the lungs. So as you breathe in towards the bottom of the lungs, you feel your diaphragm pressing down, and the result of that is your belly moving forward out of the way. Lengthening your breath out so that it matches the length of your breath in. Finding this equal breath, this breath of balance, coherence. It's really useful breath for just leveling out. Just another couple of breaths like this. And letting go of the control of your breath, let your natural breath return. Notice any sense of ease or effortlessness there. Maybe finding your intention for your practice here today. What feels useful for you to carry with you throughout your time here on the mat? As a reminder, something that serves you or something that you'd like to cultivate more of. When you feel complete in that, I'm going to start doing this practice with you. So when you feel complete in that, start to invite gentle movement back into your body. So you might start by drawing circles through the wrists and ankles. Maybe taking a big stretch, arms overhead, point your feet. A sigh or yawn if you need it. As soon as you say the word, you need it. And bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a big hug, maybe a little rock side to side. Drawing circles a few times each direction. And then keeping that right knee in a little bit towards that right armpit. Bring that left foot down to the mat. And you can draw circles with that right ankle a few times each direction. You squeeze that leg in, giving it a hug. So that left leg might even extend out. It's up to you. Pointing and flexing that right foot. And then start to draw big, slow circles here with that right knee. So you're not keeping it held in and little circles here. They're big circles. The knee will come away from you even where you can't reach it. Slowly, as through movement, not through pressure, but through movement, you're massaging into that hip joint, warming up the synovial fluid of the joint, which lubricates it, which is really useful in cooler months or windy weather, going in both directions a few times. Then eventually let that right knee come out to the side. That foot just lands on the inside of that left leg. So have that left leg extended out now. In this relaxed tree pose position, you might bring your hands down to your lower belly or your hip bones here. Take a few slow, deep breaths. And then take that right ankle, cross it over the top of the left thigh, and bend that left knee, plant the foot so you're in your figure four shape. Arms come out to the side, and start to lower your legs down over towards the left. So that right leg is on top, coming into a bit of a stretch, bit of a twist. Make sure you're still breathing down through your body, even in the twists, as you inhale. Take one more breath here. Lift your legs up, plant both feet, take a breath or two in the middle. And cross your left ankle over the top of, nope, you bring your left knee in towards the left armpit. You can extend that right leg out if it feels okay to. Squeeze that left leg in and draw circles through the left ankle. Going a few times each direction, pointing and flexing the foot. Then start to draw those big, big circles with that left knee. So slow and steady, you're not putting pressure down on the leg or into the hip joint. You're just giving it space to move. going in the opposite direction. And eventually letting that left knee come out to the side. The foot is relaxed on the ground, but it's lined up with the inside of that right thigh. Come into your relaxed tree pose. Taking a few deep breaths here, in and out. And then when you're ready, take that left ankle, cross it over the top of the right thigh, and then bend that knee, plant that foot. So you're in your figure 4 shape, arms out to the side, and lower your legs down over towards the right. Coming into that twist variation. Make sure you're breathing here. Take one more breath here. Inhale, lift your legs, plant your feet. Take a breath or two in neutral. And then when you're ready, rolling over to one side. You can help yourself up, finding hands and knees. So if you need anything underneath your knees here, because we'll be on them just for this little bit of a sequence, grab some padding. And if your wrists are feeling sensitive, you can come onto your fists here with the fingers curled facing towards each other. So just let the knees be underneath each hip, hands or wrists underneath each shoulder. And just find a few cat-cows for a moment. So as you breathe in, lower the belly, lengthen the spine, broadening the collarbones. Exhale, scooping through the belly, looking down, pressing into your hands. Inhale, lengthening. And exhale, curling. Let's do that once more, breathing in, lengthening. And exhale. And then from here, bring your knees a little bit wider than hips. Big toes might touch in the middle. Bring your right hand into the center of the mat as you breathe in, left arm expands. And exhale, threading that arm through, landing gently on the outside edge of the shoulder. Relax your head and neck down or create a pillow if you need it. Press the back of that bottom arm down into the ground to activate the stretch. Top hand comes in front of the face to help guide you into your twist. Make sure you're still breathing here. So you're in charge of how deep this twist goes. When you're ready, bring that top hand down into the mat. As you breathe in, sweep that bottom arm through and up. Then exhale, we swap over. So the left hand lands in the center. Breathe in, right arm extends. Exhale, thread the arm through, landing gently. Relax your head and neck. Press the back of that bottom arm down into the ground. Top hand in front to help guide you into your twist. One more breath here. The top hand presses down. As you breathe in, sweep that bottom arm through and open. As you exhale, lower down. Coming into child's pose for a moment, just to breathe, just to pause. So your knees will be together or wide. Usually it'll be your hip joints that let you know. Maybe you rest down here. But if your body doesn't like child's pose for various reasons, there are several different ways you can come into your version of it. If it's having the head that far down and not really feeling like there's a lot of space or it just adds pressure, you might just lift up onto the hands, keep the shoulders away. That might be an option for you, maybe relaxing the head and neck here. Or if it's to do with flexion in the hips or knees, or it just doesn't feel good for that lower body area, you may still be leaning forward, but lift the hips away. So either way, resting here, take a few breaths, because the intention, as always, is to let yourself just be and pause and breathe for just a moment. So it's just a quick pause, a quick breath. Letting yourself have this moment. When you're ready, coming into downward facing dog. So come forward, bring your hands into your low plank position. So hands are at least shoulder width, maybe even slightly wider, just so the shoulders aren't really bunched up here. We want them to have space. If your wrists are sensitive, you won't have the hands turned facing in regardless, but do have them slightly turned out and really pressing in on that webbing between the thumb and index finger and into the heel of your thumb. That real mound of your thumb will help shift the weight into a happier place for the wrists. Insides the elbows face each other rather than pushing forward. We want them facing each other. Roll the shoulders up and back and down so you feel your lats engaged. So feel that space and stability. Tuck your feet, lift your knees and hips. Open your chest up towards the tops of the thighs, finding downward facing dog. Looking back at your feet, you've got the hips lifted, so you're decompressing through the spine, which means you may want to bend the knees here to help that. So you can pedal the heels, bending the knees, rocking the hips side to side, just to create a bit of space for your first downward facing dog for this session. Make sure you're breathing. And then let your heels be heavy. They don't have to touch the ground, but they are heavy. Notice how my legs aren't locked straight. My knees are bent to help lift through the hips. Take another breath here. On your next breath in, extend that right leg, three-legged dog. And exhale, bend the knees, scoot through the belly, and help your foot all the way through to the top of the mat. Walk it forward if you need to, however your body needs to get there. You can ground your hands on either side of the foot or have your hands on the inside of that front foot, whatever works for you space-wise. And as you breathe in, broaden the collarbones, drawing forward. As you exhale, peel that front foot back towards you, lengthen the front leg, peeling back. So you can walk your hands with you as you do so. Moving like that with the breath. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, peel back. Again, like that, easing into the hips. On these next two, you can keep that back knee lowered if that works best for you, or lift up off the back knee. So you're in this runner's lunge variation. You'll breathe in, draw forward. And the variation for the exhale on this one is to let the back heel heavy, lengthen that front leg. Again, doesn't need to be locked at the knee, but you're engaging the quads for support in this modified pyramid. Again, like that. Again, if you need to be on the back knee, do so. Breathe in, come forward. Exhale, lengthen back. do once more. So we're staying in this hamstring stretch, whether your back knee is lowered or lifted. Make sure what works for you. And from here, peel that front foot away. So it's a different kind of balance for a moment. Your hands are steadying you. And start to play with getting into the different muscles of the hamstring. So start to rotate that whole leg just slightly out. And then in. Just within your body, within the degrees of your body. And once more. Beautiful. And then bend that front knee, come forward, crisscross that front foot to the middle of the front of the mat. Lift up off that back knee if you weren't already. Lower the back heel. So cut that back foot in on an angle. Notice how mine's cut in. It's not turned out, it's cut in. Engage that back leg so there's support. The front knee is tracking forward to look forward and then lifting yourself up. You're in your warrior 2 footing. So from here, lengthen your front leg, engage the quads, engage your glutes, and turn your torso to face the side of the mat. Breathe in, get this big expanded heart breath, and lean over that leg only so far as the shoulders allow. So if you go all the way down, but that top shoulder drops in and you're like this, or your hips really back out and you're like this, we don't really want that. So come up a bit, engage the hips so that they're steady. Don't have to be in line, but they're not sitting out. They're steady. And the chest and shoulders are open. Extending that top arm up, triangle pose. Take a few breaths here. Breathing in, and the body stays as it is, but as you exhale, that top arm might reach towards the front of the mat. As you exhale, inhale, lifting it up. Balance is a thing. Exhale, lengthening. Once more like that. So breathing in, reach tall. This time as you exhale, lift that back heel as you bring your hands on the inside of that front foot. So you're back on the ball of the foot of that back foot. Crisscross that front foot out to the wide edge of the mat and lower your back knee here. So you're in your lizard pose. You may have a little bit of a sway side to side as needed. Make sure you're breathing. Always helpful. You might pause here. You can stay on your hands if this is already really intense. Remember, we're not trying to feel like we're ripping our body apart. It may feel intense. Yes. You're not trying to push, push, push. If you have space, you may play with coming down onto the forearms, but you don't have to. Take another breath here. And then from here, we're extending that right leg back up to three-legged dog. So really, however you need to get there, but you might play with this as a little bit of a strengthener, pressing into your hands and slightly protracting through the shoulders and that upper back. So you have stability, engaging your core and lengthening that right leg back up. And then lowering it down, pedaling the heels as you need. And then from here, extending your left leg up, three-legged dog. Exhale, bend the knees, scoop through the belly, help that foot through. Lower your back knee here and find that positioning for your hands. When you're ready, you can draw forward, breathing in. As you exhale, peel that front foot back towards you, lengthen the front leg. Peeling back. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, fold back. Again, like that. And then you can stay on that back knee if that feels better for you, or option as you come forward to come into that runner's lunge, you're just lifting up off the back knee. It's a little bit more active, that's all. So from here, and your exhale, lengthen your front leg back, heel heavy. So relaxing your head and neck down. Similar stretch, just a slightly different feeling in that back leg. Breathe in, come forward. Exhale, peel back. Again, like that. Exhale, peeling back and holding here. So whether you lower the back knee and lift that front foot, which it should already be, or you keep the back knee lifted and lift that front foot, either way, make sure you've got stability and start to just slightly rotate that foot out to the side or that leg out to the side and slightly in. If you need to hold yourself up a little bit more to play with that, do so. See, there's different ways. This way you might want the chair or a wall in a bed. Once more. Beautiful. Come forward, find your lunge. Crisscross that front foot to the middle of the front of the mat. Lower that back heel down. So again, notice my back heel is cut in, not turned out. It's not, we don't want it facing towards the back of the mat. We want the heel closer to the back of the mat. Engage that whole back leg so there's energy drawing up that back leg. Front knee bends tracking forward towards the top of the mat. So you're lifting up. Warrior two footing. And from here, lengthen that front leg, feet stay in the same position. Engage the quads here for support. So you're not just locking into that joint. You've got quads for support. Breathe in, reach out. Exhale, lean over, only so far as your shoulders allow. So make sure you've got space. Your hips aren't leaning back like this and you're trying to do these ones. Put yourself up first and do that if you need to. Take a few breaths here. And the next exhale, it's just that top arm might reach towards the front of the mat. The rest of the body stays the same. Inhale, lift up. It'll play with your balance. Exhale, reach forward. Once more like that. Inhale, reach up. Remember to lift that back heel as you bring your hands down on the inside of that front foot. Crisscross that front foot out to the wide edge of the mat, maybe slightly turned out. Lower the back knee, you're in your lizard pose, similar to your lunge, but different. Same, but different. Maybe a gentle sway side to side will be helpful. Just feeling into that. You might pause, you can stay on your hands, or you may explore going deeper depending on your range. That is all. That's all that it needs to depend on. Take another breath here. To help yourself up. So remember, we're coming into our three-legged dog again with that left leg up. So however you need to get there, whether you just step back and take it step by step, or if you play with stability in the upper body, engage the core, soften that back knee so that you have space to move and extend into. And then lower the back foot, lower that top foot. Take a few breaths here. When you're ready, lower your knees, swing your legs around in front, grabbing your block or your block alternative, coming onto your back. You can come into your supported bridge. So knees are bent, feet on the mat. Block is widthways on the lowest level. Lift your hips and place it right underneath your sacrum. So not in the arch of the lower back, but right underneath the pelvis itself. Keep the knees bent here. Feet on the ground. It allows space for the lower back to decompress. Just let yourself rest here. We'll let ourselves rest in this one for quite a bit, or a bit longer than our quick sort of stretches and holds. So let yourself really be here, feeling the back of the ribs melt down. Just notice your breath here, particularly the pace. The depth doesn't need to be fully deep in this position. A little bit longer here. Let yourself rest. When you're ready, lifting your hips away from the prop so you can move it out from underneath you. Lower your hips down, keep your knees bent, feet on the mat. Just taking a few breaths, letting the natural curves of your spine return before we counter pose, so we don't go immediately into the counter pose. And then from here, arms out to the sides, shuffle the hips over to the right, lift your legs and lower your knees over towards the left, finding your twist here. So you can choose whichever direction to turn your head to face. And then when you're ready, breathe in, lift your knees up, shuffle your hips all over to the left, lift your legs and roll your knees over towards the right, finding your twist on the second side. When you're ready, knees lift, hips back to the middle, and find your way into Shavasana for your final relaxation. So you might stay in constructed rest pose where the knees stay bent, feet are slightly wider than your hips, and the knees rest against each other. That can be really nice for the lower back, creating space around the sacrum, and it can just be really comfortable. Or you may like to extend your legs or place something like a pillow or bolster underneath the crease of the knees. We want the feet to be separated though, so resist the urge to cross the ankles, keep them apart, let the feet relax out, just so we have neutrality here. Or as I mentioned at the beginning, if you need to lay on your left side, then do so. Or if you need to sit up, please feel free to do so. I will sit up to take you through your relaxation, but I just want you to find that comfortable position for you that you're able to rest into. Letting everything settle. Giving yourself a little bit of that wiggle or adding a blanket over you if you're cold. Body temperature naturally does lower during relaxation. So you want to make sure that you're warm enough for this part of your practice, this most important part of your practice, which is the integration of everything that you've done throughout that practice. Just letting yourself be. Let your eyes close or lower. That feels good for you. Release your jaw. Letting yourself settle, relax. Once again, letting the weight of your body rest heavy here. Staying exactly as you are for the moment. Bring your awareness home to your breath. Whether you deepen that breath, or lengthen it, or simply trace it in and out. Maybe finding a new or revised intention, one that you can take with you off the mat into the rest of your day. It feels useful for you as a reminder. When you feel complete in that, starting to invite gentle movement back into your body. You might wiggle your toes and fingers, or rock your head slightly side to side, gently side to side, if that feels good for your neck. Or even stretch your arms up and over your head, point your feet, and a big stretch for the front of your body, a sigh or yawn as you need it. Bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a big hug. Maybe a little rock side to side, or drawing circles a few times each direction, whatever feels good for you. Eventually rolling over to one side. Help yourself up, find a comfortable seat, let your eyes close or lower when you get there. Your hands can rest in your lap, on your legs, together at your heart. There's no wrong way of doing this. It's really just whatever feels best for you. Pausing for a moment in gratitude for yourself, taking the time out of your day to slow down and reconnect. Gratitude for the space that you've created, or that maybe someone else has helped you or enabled you to create. Gratitude for your practice of yoga. You can now take with you often. Thank you so much for joining me. Please let me know how you went with this. I would love to hear from you. And yeah, keep taking care, and I will see you next time.